So today I have Kiersten Atkinson from Hand and Paw. Kiersten has been a interviewee in the past. She was actually one of my very first interviews I did for the project. And looking back, now that we are, kind of transitioning back to our, new normal, wanted to see what's going on over at HIP. Hey, Kirsten and Bindi.
Thank you. She just crawled into my lap.
Yeah, she said it's time to roll, Mom.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah, so how have you been doing?
Doing really well. Thank you so much for having me back on the program. We have lots of information to share and updates on what we're doing. So this is actually really great timing for us.
I know I asked you this during our first interview, what brings you joy, as Marie Kondo says. I'm sure everybody's familiar. She's like one of my favorite pop culture icons. So what's bringing you joy these days? And have you gotten into any of the activities that you might not have been able to do before you were vaccinated?
Sure. So I have thrown myself into my garden this year. Usually we do a ton of vegetables, and this year I've expanded into perennials and pollinators and trying to fill my garden with bees and butterflies and sort of expanded that. So I've been to probably every garden shop within, a 10-mile radius to my and that has been phenomenally fun, because not only just getting to go somewhere, but also getting to add these wonderful plants to our garden at home, and really kind of thinking long-term, making it sort of an established garden. Hand and Paw has an incredible volunteer who has created a beautiful garden at our campus in Avondale, and I've been able to sort of take some of her vision and recreate it at home, which has been a lot of fun. So I'm learning a lot and just enjoying being able to go places and buy plants and learn about plants. Of course, returning to restaurants and eating with friends has been a huge part of my life. That's something we really enjoyed. And pre-pandemic, we have dinner parties constantly. We love food. We love new cookbooks. So that's something that we're doing as well, that has always brought us joy. So I'm glad to be reunited with friends over food, and in creating this wonderful flower oasis at home has been sort of my main hobbies right now.
I also see behind you the great library that you guys have worked on and built, and I would love to hear more about it.
Absolutely. So our phenomenal teams, our donors, basically built this library during the pandemic, full of books. And what we have been doing with our therapy teams is virtual visits. So we found starting out that not only did we need a copy of the book for the student, but because we're connecting via Zoom, we needed a copy of the same book for the therapy team. So we had to duplicate every book in our reading program, which was pretty incredible. So our donors, we have a wonderful Amazon wish list page that people are able to purchase books. We had donations from the Literacy Council. We've just had personal donations. People have dropped off books. We love donations of new or gently used books for our program. And what we focus on is kindergarten through about third grade. And the reason we do this is that third grade is so critical in literacy and reading comprehension. It's where you're going from learning how to read to reading to learn. So if you're not getting those essentials up to the third grade, it's going to be tough transitioning from third to fourth. So we try to get our pre-readers in kindergarten and up to about third grade. And that's where we find our therapy teams can make the most difference. And what we do is pair a struggling reader with a therapy team, and that reader is able to read to the dog, and they are just this calming, comforting presence. They're not their peers. They're not having to get up in front of the
Right.
class and read in front of their peers, especially kids that are having a little bit of a harder time with reading. They have this wonderful, non-judgmental, comforting audience to read to. And so that's the beauty of our literacy visits. And if we're doing this about once a week with the same student, you see that progress. It's immeasurable. It's incredible. The confidence, not only the confidence, but they want to read for pleasure. There's this incentive to reading. And of course, you have this wonderful dog and team that's supporting you. So that's what our Sit, Stay, Read program is all about. And that's why we built this wonderful library. And eventually we'll be able to have Sit, Stay, Read visits on campus. And that's really our goal.
Looking back on the past year, in what ways did HIP grow? And also, what kind of obstacles did you face? And what have you learned from those?
Sure. So, all of our visits were in person. That's the true benefit of animal-assisted therapy in visiting with vulnerable populations, is that real hands-on with the dogs. And of course, we couldn't do any of that during COVID. We couldn't visit in our hospitals or in our nursing homes, with our vulnerable community. So we started doing virtual visits. And of course, this was a huge leap for our volunteers to really take on all of the technology. So we had a quick lesson in Zoom. They had quick lessons in Zoom, but we learned that we were still able to connect with our community and bring that wonderful animal-assisted therapy to people that really needed a boost. Our nursing homes, we had our activities directors carrying around computers to meet with the residents. We were able to meet with the healthcare workers on the COVID unit at UAB and just giving them a little bit of a break in their day. We had a mobile computer unit that rolled around. We met with COVID patients. We met with healthcare staff. And just when they saw the dogs on the screen, their face would light up. We also did literacy visits, which was incredible. We did virtual literacy support. So we were able to connect with organizations like Girls Inc. and the YWCA to help those kids that were struggling a little bit with that virtual learning, that may be a little bit further behind this year because they didn't have that in-person classroom. So our teams were able to really tap into a different way of serving as a therapy team, but it was really wonderful. We just had to really think outside of the box. So we learned a lot over the past year. We're still going to keep some of those virtual visits because we're able to connect with populations we weren't able to in the past. So we will still have a virtual track. We're still meeting with students at Glenwood. We're meeting with students at Girls Inc. And we're transitioning to in-person visits, but we're still going to have some of those virtual opportunities, especially for teams that aren't comfortable going back due to their own health issues or, what they would prefer to do. So as we move further into this, we'll probably see that this virtual track offers all sorts of opportunities for us.
You did talk about your in-person programs, which are coming back. Can we discuss them a little bit more and what you have in store for HIP's future?
Sure, absolutely. So what we did over the month of May and into June, we called our little group meetings May meetups, and we invited our therapy teams back to our Avondale campus for small group meetups where we talked about, where they would like to return in the community, and also infection control, increased infection control procedures. So we did a little bit of training. We did some role play. going back into our community, we want to make sure that our clients are safe, our volunteers are safe, and staff members of a facility. So we are going to keep these smaller groups when we visit. But it was just wonderful getting our teams back to hip, back to hand and paw, and seeing everyone in person. And it was just a very personal way of checking in with them too. We haven't seen everyone in 16 months.
Right.
We haven't seen the volunteer, we haven't seen their dog, we haven't seen their cat. So this was a way for us to really just kind of check in personally and say, hey, how are you doing? And then we can talk about how we're going back. We are going back to Children's Hospital. Still working on that, but it's close. We are going back to UAB. With that program, we're actually launching a new program called WAGs for Wellness.
Oh.
And this is going to be a staff-centric visit. We recognize that our healthcare staff has been through a tremendous amount over the past 16 months, and we really want to provide some stress relief for them. So WAGs for Wellness will be launching soon at UAB. And then our nursing homes, of course, will be going back and doing stress relief visits there as well. Our schools, we know we're going to need lots of support in schools. Kids that are behind in literacy and reading may need some extra support. So we're letting our teachers have a little bit of a summer here before we start talking to them, but we'll be back in the schools as well. We know that the kids that struggled already in reading will need that extra support, especially after a year of virtual school. So we're ready to do that. But we are slowly just kind of dipping our foot back in the water. We want to make sure that our growth is slow and intentional, but definitely getting back to the facilities that we used to visit with pre-pandemic. So that is the goal.
What are you looking forward to the most for HIP's future? In particular, we did talk about, going into the hospitals and, going into the schools. But what is your favorite aspect of all of this?
I think my favorite aspect is just seeing the joy on our volunteers' faces when they're able to do what, they're so tremendous at, and bringing that joy back to our community, and, visiting with people that have been at home or isolated for 16 months. It really, truly is going to mean that much more when we go back into facilities, and not just for the clients, but for the staff that have been just absolutely bearing the trauma of this past year. So once we are able to get our teams back in a facility and doing those consistent visits that people can really look forward to every week, being able to spend time with the therapy team, I think that will be incredible. Our volunteers are absolutely phenomenal, and they are just ready to be back. So bringing that joy to our community consistently will be just magic. Absolute magic. Absolutely. So that's the biggest thing. No matter where we are, just that we're back every day somewhere with our animals. Animal assisted therapy, it's transformative, especially for someone in isolation. Just being able to pet a dog or a cat, and your blood pressure lowers, your heart rate regulates, and you just have this sense of peace and calm. And being able to do that for people that have been completely isolated for so long will be incredible.
What do you feel is the importance of supporting community and local nonprofits, and how does that fit into HIP's mission and your personal mission?
So our struggle this past year, of course, is, everyone's kind of working in isolation. And we were able to form these wonderful partnerships that we had not had before. We worked with Better Basics. We worked with Girls Inc. We were able to tap into our local community via Zoom to help support their mission while they helped support our mission. So community is the basis of all of that. Being able to get through this year and help students and help staff. You know, we were all struggling in different ways. Being able to bring some stress relief to nursing homes when they couldn't have anyone there doing any kind of activities for so long. So I feel like community, we were able to come together and solve some of these challenges of isolation and create some distraction and some entertainment for people that you know, are used to having lots of activities, people coming and going, and they just had to shut the doors. So our community was able to help us. We were able to help them. We formed stronger relationships because of that. So we were incredibly, incredibly lucky to have such a wonderful community here in Birmingham and in Tuscaloosa. We have a wonderful core group of volunteers in Tuscaloosa as well. And they really carried us through this year. And we were just able to create something when we thought we'd just have to close the doors. And we certainly didn't do that. So we are a human services organization at the end of the day. We have animals, but we're here to serve our community. And bring some light and love to community members. And we were still able to do that.
How can our viewers volunteer or donate for HIP? What kinds of things are you needing for your organization at this time?
Absolutely. Well, we love books. So of course, helping us fill the rest of our shelves in the library would be phenomenal. We have an Amazon wish list. That's on our website. We have lots of information on our website. There's wonderful videos of where we visit, demonstrations of how we visit with children in the hospital, nursing homes, literacy visits. Please check it out. We have a great YouTube channel. That's on our website as well. We have a couple of fundraisers coming up. One is Picasso Pets. That's our big art gala. That will be returning this year. So there'll be information about that again on our website. Check out our social media page. It's always a fun resource. You get to see the visits that we're starting coming back into the community. We have a great Facebook and Instagram page. So check those out, and that will kind of keep you up to date on all of our events as well. But absolutely, just have a look at our YouTube. There's lots of information too if you want to become a therapy team. There's sort of a roadmap of how to do it and what it takes. Of course, my information is listed on the website too. You can always give me a call or shoot me an email if you have questions. I'll be happy to help.
Well, Kiersten, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I love seeing Bindi. I hope that both of you have a great week and a good weekend, and we'll see you soon in the library.
All right, Joan, thank you so much. We appreciate all that you do over at the library. We really do.
Oh, I appreciate you. All right, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.